So they have to kind of have like multiple blockers, multiple answers, or they could just ruin Nation again back to back. For today's video, I am taking a crack at the Swain archetype that I've been dying to try basically since I saw Codger and Boxtopus revealed. So this is going to be a pretty standard kind of Swain Twisted Fate list, but with the inclusion of those new tools, because they really help you level up Swain early and potentially even on curve. So we're going to go through the list real quick and then play a couple of games like I always do. And we're going to start by talking about Crusty Codger. This is not much to write home about here because we're not running a ton of healing. This really is just a 1-drop 2/2, but because it deals 2 damage to himself when he's played, the Crusty Codger helps you with your Swain condition for leveling him up. So if we kind of scroll down here to Swain, it says you've dealt 12 non-combat damage. That's when you level him up. Well, you play this on turn 1, you get a 2/2 out of it, and you also take a dent in that magic number of 12. So Crusty Codger is here. Jagged Butcher, again, pretty standard plunder inclusion. We've got Boxtopus, same concept as Codger. This also helps you fight for the board early. Then we also have Demolitionist, again, same concept as Boxtopus. This is going to get you 3 damage towards leveling up your Swain. Grenadier is one of the flex positions. I'm running this because it's the more aggressive one, but if you want to focus on more card draw, I think that you could potentially run the new card that does a damage to a friendly unit, and then you draw a card. So it does 1 to itself, 1 to a friendly unit, and you draw a card, but you don't get the damage on the opposing nexus, and it's not quite a 3/2 body. Make It Rain, pretty standard here. Culling Strike. So this is my response to the day 1 meta as we're going into day 2 here, because I've seen a lot of Tahm Kench Soraka, and until otherwise, I'm just going to be running 3 Culling Strikes in my Noxus decks as long as that's popular, because these are fantastic. Specifically, Tommy Boy, when he eats your own units. When he's trying to buff himself, a little bit tougher because you kind of have to do it in response, but it's pretty satisfying when they eat a unit or 2 of yours and then you make them spit it up. Death's Hand. This is, again, just really Swain help, but this also helps trigger that plunder. And if Swain is leveled up, so here's the other thing, right? When Swain is leveled up, when you deal non-combat damage to the Nexus, you get the stun effect, so Death's Hand helps in that regard as well. 1 Might for some extra reach, just kind of like as a surprise finisher. It's really effective on Swain at times when you're trying to get that extra Nexus damage in as well, but really this is just a surprise factor. Fervor, very standard in any Swain list. Twisted Fate is here just because it's a great play to kind of supplement Swain. You get versatility, maybe you get the card draw, maybe you get the stun, etc., etc. Spray Fin here, damage, and then you get to draw one of these awesome spells, potentially even that Culling Strike. And then top end is Swain, and I'm running 3 copies of Leviathan. You could run Riptide Rex here, you could choose not to run Leviathan, but I wanted some sort of like late game oomph, a power play. I think that this is a pretty good one because we're trying to play Swain. So being able to draw Swain is nice as a follow-up play, but also, again, if you have that level 2 Swain, you play Leviathan and it sticks for a round and suddenly you're in business. So this is the list that we're going to rock. We're going to play a couple of games and let's jump on the ladder. Well, it looks like we're going to be running into Trundle here. And this is interesting because normally when I see this combination, I would have assumed it would be War Mother, but you typically also have at least 1 Tryndamere when that happens. It's not the Kench Soraka matchup, so I'm pretty confident with tossing that back, and I think we're going to toss the Fervor back as well. I'm just trying to decide if I actually want to toss this Make It Rain or not. Actually, I think I'm going to change my mind. I think we're going to keep the Fervor and toss the Make It Rain here, because I don't know what's going on with this matchup, but I got a feeling Fervor is going to end up being the kind of overall better play. And this is a nice acceptable curve. Obviously we'd love this to be a Codger, but it's not. And sometimes playing this as a 2/2 to get this damage in is just what you do. You don't always have to get that plunder value. It's just a value add when you do. Well, all right, we're gonna find out if Culling Strike is relevant one way or another. So we do get pretty wrecked by Avalanche this next turn potentially. Okay. And now we have to make the decision, because I can take the open attack. If they block here, they take 1 and then we get the 2 extra damage in, but I could also just try to Death's Hand here. Then they could play another potential unit in response. This is a bit of a tough call. I think we just take the attack. There's a strong chance that maybe this deck just doesn't even run Avalanche, but I think playing around it's probably correct. And here we just bank our spell mana. So they're just going to ramp. All right, so it is likely War Mother. Just really surprised not to see the Tryndamere in the lineup. We're gonna go with just drawing a card, I think. Don't get the one refill, but ooh, getting that Swain is kind of nice though. Another Swain, huh? So now we have to decide how greedy do we want to be. We can play the Swain, but then they get the opportunity to play units or Avalanche. So I'm not as worried about Avalanche. Icequake is kind of annoying. But I think we're going to be greedy, all things considered. And there's the Icequake, so we will, I think, take this opportunity to just get some extra damage in. That's 6 towards leveling up our Swain. We've got other potential removal tools. And the sooner we can get this leveled up, the better off we'll be. So there's the Trundle play. We actually could get rid of the Trundle here. Let's slow play, see if we can get them to throw some more mana our way. Oh, tough call, actually. Yeah, you know what? Let's actually go for it. So the thing that hoses us here, potentially, I was running the numbers here. We're really just worried about the opposing troll. I was also concerned that we're going to be giving this up. Excuse me, the troll chant, not the opposing troll. The troll chant. Let me finish my sentence here first. I was worried about troll chant as we attempt to make this play and set ourselves up for this open attack the next turn, but oh, they're just gonna go ahead and do that for us. All right. Like, we're fine with them having the spider because that can't block the fearsome unit, so. To finish that train of thought, the reason I was okay with giving up our backup Swain, if that makes sense, is because we do have the Leviathan, so we can just find one again. Shuffling one back into the deck is not the end of the world here, but we're gonna go ahead and get that damage in. Pillar comes down. We do have Culling Strike for that. Three potential damage here to get them down to 6. Doesn't mean putting more damage on Swain though, and I really don't want to put him in Icequake range quite yet. I think I want to save this for here. So as weird as it sounds, this might just straight up be a pass until we see what else they do. There was a consideration for just hitting this with the culling strike. Just because if they played a unit here and then challenged in. All right, so they did have the ruination. Bit of a bummer. Not necessarily the end of the world though, because again, our other Leviathan drew a Swain, and now even if they play a blocker, we should be able to stun it. So they have to kind of have like multiple blockers, multiple answers, or they could just ruination again back to back. Wow, I'm not even angry. I'm just impressed. All right, we'll go this route then. Now they could also have avalanche here, which will stop this. Vile Feast's a pretty good answer on their end as well. Is it weird that I kind of want to culling strike this just for the 2 damage? Is that weird? How weird would that actually be? I want to save this for, because this will fetch us another Swain. That gets us going. This is only worth 2 damage. I think we just do this. Save the strike. Don't be greedy. Talk ourselves out of it. Play smart. All right, so we've dealt with 2 ruinations thus far. Howling Abyss, we're fine with that. See if we can get a little bit more mana out of them. This might be avalanche. There it is. There it is. All right, so they've got to have fast speed removal or else we connect with the open attack. And even still, now we have a good chunk of damage here as well, but all right, so that's gonna what, put him at 2 here. This would get him down to 1. We need them to have an enemy for this to work. They do survive, so we say okay. I mean, they still die at round start to this if they don't heal further. So we're not that worried yet. We just kind of pass until they show us they have an answer. Katarina! Hey! All right, that worked out pretty well. Let's go play another game. All right, this is going to be Dragons. Shyvana, Aurelian Soul. I just need to say out loud, I really dig. I think with these both go back. I really dig this spooky Halloween board. Well, that got significantly worse. Oh, all right, that might be a bit rough. Oh yeah, okay. So the downside to having like 8 cost top end cards is that sometimes on your aggressive deck you get them in your opener. So here is where you hope they don't have a great turn 2 play.
We were forged in Dragonfire.
Now if we attack, they block, we get the 1 damage in, but we get rid of that. The alternative here is we could wait, and then next turn if they challenge into this, then we'll get the damage and we could actually get the plunder trigger, but that's assuming that they don't have something to keep this unit alive. So we get hosed by something like barrier. Is that the risk that we're willing to take? Because then we don't trade with this, but we still get the plunder. I think it is a risk we're willing to take. I'm gonna say they don't have it. I'll probably be wrong, but I'm gonna say they don't have it. Okay.
I'm always up for a round or two.
We will just go ahead and take that then. We don't need the plunder. We'll bank the spell mana. Single combat, huh? I mean, ultimately, this is still a 2-for-1. So, you know, we lose TF, but... I think we're fine with this. I think we're fine with that. That's a pretty big dragon. We likely could take this out. We could either use the might or it's not full value make it rain, but if we swing and then we have make it rain, if they block, the damage goes on this because of order of operations, and we get rid of it without worrying about the fury.
Who's gonna get in my way?
So I think that this is probably still correct. We want to use some of this spell mana, I think, anyway, because next turn it's looking like our play is going to be Spray Fin, and he'll help refill. You could make the argument about maybe waiting to make it rain the following turn on a block, because then maybe you can play the Butcher with the Plunder, but hey, another TF here, huh? Another TF is interesting. I think we just take this opportunity because I don't want to take the 4 to the face.
Dead in their tracks.
Keep up, keep up.
This is actually pretty nice if we see a Shyvana pop up. What kind of combat tricks do we think they would have? Because right now we can swing with both. Yeah, let's do it.
Luck is smiling.
So again, we're worried about barrier or something that buffs health, but right now this might be the surprise that we're looking for because of our quick attack. That gets through your spell shield, Mr. Dragon Man. Oh, that does not help us. All right, so we'll just take the double butcher.
He started without me.
Get those potential blockers on the board, because at this point now we're just stalling till Leviathans are up and running. Now the good news is the 8 health on this means it's pretty hard, I think, for this deck to deal with it. All right, so we have to try this now before they can declare attack. We just got to hope they don't have another clutch.
A dragon's
All right. I think we're just going to go ahead and play this without the plunder.
Blood and sweat.
Take our 3 spell mana. Oh, Spray Fin is nice here, but like, let's be honest, we want to play a Leviathan. I don't think we're going to end up attacking with the Leviathan though. So I think right now we just send this to get the chip damage in, wait and see what they play, try to respond.
Shape the skies and mold the earth.
Get our Swain up and running. So as long as this survives next turn, this will be of appropriate size. Now, this is going to help them with resource management. That's a big boy dragon right there.
The heavens diminish without my attention.
Such majesty.
Empire above all.
We're going to play the Swain because we're not worried about them having a combat trick right now. Now, it's going to be quite the Hail Mary, but a Make It Rain here, if it connects with the Nexus, might stun something. I mean, I suppose it kind of doesn't matter in which direction, but we're going to go with this, and we do! All right! We hit the Nexus.
Bleed for nothing.
We killed the Herald. We hit the Nexus. All right, we'll take the spray fin.
Go with the flow.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Aurelian soul levels for them. But turns out space dragons also have to deal with pirates and boats.
I do love an audience.
Pirates and boats. So they've got one blocker here, and then potentially, you know, single combats and the like, but I think as long as they don't have a big chunk of healing here. So right now that's going to put them down to 3. But then we have an answer with our other Leviathan, potentially.
Patience is a tactician's greatest tool.
Let's try to prevent some of this damage on Swain and poke the Nexus a little bit more. We still have enough left over for our Leviathan, which again is our real path to victory here. Do this. We're just trying to get more mana out of them. There we go. All right, no single combat.
Destination in sight. Bring these lambs to their knees.
They went below 3, so single combat is the issue. No! They high rolled into Living Legends. Oh, that card's so busted. All right. That's fair. I mean, it's not fair. Feels pretty unfair. Now, let's be honest. This is going to be a loss, right? Like, there's just no question about it. This is going to be a loss. But I must say that it took Aurelian Soul high roll to pull this away, and we had a slow start. I mean, we had double Leviathan very, very early. So I think we're onto something overall. Like, that's what I'm trying to do is the takeaway here. This is a list that I was pretty excited to try. I think it's going to have some legs. I think I might have 8 of them. That's a Boxtopus joke, but I like the feel of the list. Swain and Twisted Fate, again, not necessarily a shocking revelation of a new combo. Come on, top deck direct damage. That would be the icing on the cake here. I mean, we do have outs, right? Oh, not anymore.
Suffer my fury.
Not anymore. But we did have outs. We'll give him the old Shen. Anyway, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and I do think the list has legs. This is fun. I can't wait for tomorrow's deck, though.